Welcome to Scary Basement. Each week, me and my friend Mikey are drawn inexplicably and supernaturally to this very basement, which contains the backup crown of the third Demon King of Hell, the rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and a Cerberus that just looks really, really good in 3 matching sets of scarves. I'm Roxy Polk.
And I'm Mikey McCollor.
Mikey, let's start out, as we always do, with the scariest things that happened to us this week. So what went down in your real life outside of the scary basement that spooked you to your very bones?
Roxy, this one's real upsetting.
Okay.
It strikes to the core of who I am. I think that I am developing an allergy to my favorite Starbucks drink.
You love Starbucks, Mikey. Oh, no.
I know. I write there. It's where I spend so much time. It's basically
your
my
office.
It's
Yeah.
my office. You know me so well. And I always get the same drink. I get a medium hot quad soy latte, no foam at 100 degrees. And now, whenever I get it, my tongue gets all itchy.
Itchy. Okay.
Itchy.
So is it like closing up your throat, or it's just like your tongue, or what?
No, it's just like kind of prickly. It kind of feels.
That sounds unpleasant. I don't know enough about allergies. Are you sure that's something that an allergy can do?
Well, here's the other thing, Roxy. It did happen right after I ran over an old crone in my car.
Mikey, not you too. You didn't learn from my mistake in the past when I ran over that old crone.
No. There's
It's
one
not the
old
same
crone who's just in my neighborhood and presumably
Okay.
in yours. And yeah, I ran her over. I lifted her up I was like, oh my God, ma'am, are you okay? And she rubbed her hand along my face and she said, allergic to coffee. And then she turned into crows and flew away.
Okay, well, she straight up said allergic to coffee, so I think, yes, now you do have, in fact, an allergy to coffee. But is it all coffee or just that your favorite coffee?
God, we're going to find out.
Okay. You might have to swap to tea.
Roxy, what happened to you that's scary?
The thing that happened to me that's really scary is I decided to treat myself and use some nail polish. My favorite nail polish that I got from my childhood best friend for like my birthday last year. And I was really excited. I was like, cool, I never make it a point, or not never, but since the pandemic, I don't have a reason to go out as much. So painting my nails isn't as fun if I don't get to show them off. So I don't do it that often. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it this week because I feel like it. I went to go open it. Crusty, dried up. Can't use it.
Crusty.
Completely dead. And it's my favorite color. And not only is the bottle that I had donezo, I cannot use it. I went to go look up to see if I could order another one. Discontinued. Out of stock.
It's
never
gone.
Again. Yep. It's been obliterated from the face of the earth, Mikey.
Roxy, your nail polish has gone to a better place.
I'll never feel whole again.
I also forgot to mention that when I picked up that old crone, she rubbed the other side of my face and said, your friend's nail polish. And then flew away.
She remembered what I had done in the past, didn't she? She was just like, just by association, you get to get God again.
Yeah. No, well, listen, Roxy. All right. First of all, don't just assume it's you. I've got a lot of friends.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of them had traumas with their nail polish this week.
I mean, I was just thinking causation. Okay. Okay. Well, you're going to have to make a list and then cross-reference it with how many people got nail polish curses on them. And that's how we're going to solve that mystery.
Great.
But you know what a mystery that we don't have to solve is? The movie for this week.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially we have the robotic host of the Scary Basement. What is his role in the Scary Basement now that I'm thinking about it?
He loves to do the intro. I think he sensed that I was about to take the intro thunder from him, and he was like, no, and he started rolling in from the shadows.
I did see him scurrying up, like going fast. So here he is.
For the record, I am a robot butler, so therefore I buttle the Scary Basement. But because I am also a demon, I do so evilly. Anyway, this week you were tasked with watching the 2010 film Trollhunter, written and directed by Andre Ovredal and starring Otto Jespersen, Robert Stoltenberg, and Knut Nerum. Did you watch the film, or are your souls forfeit?
Yes, I watched Trollhunter. What about you, Mikey?
I did. I watched it with my eyes.
Good. That's usually how you should watch a movie. Good job.
For anybody who hasn't seen Trollhunter, what do you say you and I do a quick plot recap?
Yeah, let's do it.
We open on 3 university students, Thomas, Johanna, and Kale? Was that his name? Kale?
Kale? I can't remember, honestly. So I was looking at subtitles so much. Yep.
Anyhow, these 3 university students are making a documentary about a suspected bear poacher named Hans. They interview locals who think that the tracks look weird, and even talk to Finn, the top guy at the Norwegian Wildlife Board, who tells them that those bear tracks are perfectly normal.
The students follow Hans, who rejects their interview request, so instead they follow him in secret at night when he leaves his campsite. They end up in the middle of a forest and get lost, when suddenly Hans runs by, chased by something huge, that then bites Thomas in the darkness. The students aren't convinced when Hans tells them it was a troll, but ask again if they can film him, and this time, Hans agrees, as long as they do exactly as he instructs.
The following day, Hans has all 3 university students rub something called troll stench on themselves to hide their scent, and asks them if they believe in God or Jesus, because apparently, get this, a troll can smell the blood of a Christian man and will try to kill them. Hans also reveals his weapon, which he uses against the trolls, a powerful UV ray that emulates sunlight. Keep in mind, sunlight will kill a troll almost instantly. Some turn to stone, some just straight up explode depending on their age, but that's how this guy is going to take the fight to the trolls.
They then see their first troll, a 3-headed giant troll, in fact. Hans is able to turn this troll to stone and tells them the real reason why he allowed them to document him. He's tired of working for little pay and bad management, and wants the students to reveal the hidden truth about the organization and the trolls to the public.
Hans reveals he works for TSS, the Troll Security Service. Took him a long time to come up with that one. This secret government organization fakes bear tracks and dumps bear corpses at places where trolls have appeared to mask the damage. They also gives them a cover story if the public comes and asking. This is confirmed when they run into Finn again, and he says he will take all of their footage eventually, so he can keep this secret.
Hans's job is to kill the trolls who threaten populated areas. He says the trolls have been acting strangely aggressive as of late, and the only way to find out why they're acting so strange is to get a blood sample and get it tested. That night, they use live goats as bait to lure a troll out from under a bridge, just long enough to get a sample. They're able to get the sample, and Hans kills it with his light gun. They then take the sample to a vet who tells them that the results will take a few days.
Our heroes then follow a trail of destruction to an abandoned mine and get trapped in a cave when the pack of trolls that live there come back early. To our group's horror, Kale reveals he is a Christian. Earlier, he was lying. He loves the Lord. Oh, wants to kiss the Lord. The trolls quickly sniff him out, and the gang has to run. Sadly, Kale is killed when they try to escape, but also, now he gets to go meet his favorite god, so maybe not the worst ending for old Kale anyhow.
Yeah, I guess that you got a good point there. So now with their cameraman dead, they get a new camera woman who is a Muslim. But Hans is not exactly sure how the trolls will react to her if they get close, so best to just keep her away from them if possible, just to be safe. They follow the trail of a 50 to 100 meter tall troll, the big one they've been hunting this entire time. And Thomas begins to get sick from the wound he sustained at the beginning of the movie. They then learn from a call from the vet that the troll blood sample tested positive for rabies.
That's right. Thomas has troll rabies now.
They eventually find the giant troll, and after a tense fight and chase, Hans sends the rest of them away and goes after it on his own. He doesn't want them all to get killed. He is able to kill it just as TSS agents show up, and everybody scatters to the winds.
The epilogue shows a news clip from the Prime Minister mentioning the existence of trolls, and the press not understanding. We learn that the students disappeared, and all that was found was their uncut footage that we have been watching. And that's Trollhunter.
Trollhunter.
Roxy.
Uh-huh.
You know when you say a word over and over and over and it just loses all its meaning? It just sounds like sounds?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Troll. Troll. Said the word troll. Even in another language, I feel like I've heard the word troll so many times.
I think that they actually pronounce it that way, too. Like in Norwegian, it is just the word troll, I think.
That rules.
Because I feel like, I'm not an expert or anything, but when I would hear it and read it in the subtitles, I'm pretty sure like they were straight up saying troll. I'm sure if anybody listening knows Norwegian, they can yay or nay what I just said, but...
This is so wild. I feel like I might have completely eliminated all dialogue from this movie in my own head. And was just reading it because like there is literally a scene like very early on when Hans the hunter is off one of the first times they meet him, and the camera crew is like following him, and he runs out of the woods. It's right before our guy gets bitten, and he just goes troll!
Yeah.
And I don't remember what sound he made with his mouth when I was watching the movie.
I mean, yeah, maybe it's just because I was reading the subtitle. I could have sworn he just said troll, but I don't know. I have to rewatch it. Also, it's just funny that instead of being like, run, danger, he just yells troll. And they're like, we don't know what to do with that. And so it takes them a while before they actually do anything and run. And then that's when, like, Tomas gets bitten in the darkness. And he's, no, trolls aren't real. I don't know what I got bit by, but can't be a troll, right?
Can't be a
troll. So, like, that's what causes them to follow. Even though he's got troll slime all over him, too, because it bit him. And it had a giant mouth, I guess. Like, part of his head was probably in its mouth or something.
Roxy, I don't have an answer to this question, but I would love to start brainstorming it with you.
Okay.
I am getting really exhausted as we watch all these horror movies of the part in the movie when, like, listen, this movie was on HBO Max. We went and you searched Trollhunter, and then you went and you highlighted it, and you clicked your button to select it. The poster of the film is people standing between the trolls, right? The button I had to press to watch this is trolls. This movie is about trolls.
Yes.
I am finding myself so frustrated with the parts of the movie when the characters are just like, what do you mean trolls? Are trolls real? I'm just like, I know they're gonna be real. The movie's about trolls. I don't need to be explained.
I mean, they get on board pretty quickly because
They do.
Because even though they're like, we don't know if we believe that, they're still like, well, we're going to follow him because we know that something weird is going on. And then I think it's, the next scene when they see their car turned over. Or no, it's even the same scene. Because they get in his car and he's like, okay, I'll drive you to your car. And then they drive to their car and it has been like turned over and squashed. And yeah, a troll did that. And they were like, oh, okay, well, we need to see it. But you can tell like pretty quickly. They're like, okay.
It's like an editing question. I feel like let's just, the moment somebody says there are trolls, you get somebody going, what do you mean trolls? Are trolls real? Then just show us a troll right then. Like, then just have a troll. Like, they kind of do it anyway. Like, our dude gets bitten by a troll. Like, let's just see a troll. I'm just like so exhausted by that part where I'm just like, it again, I think we've talked about this probably every single episode of this podcast now.
Probably.
Like, I want to know exactly as much as our characters. Whenever I'm like, no, trolls are real, and my favorite sweetie, the sound girl, I don't remember her name. By far my favorite character because she looks like a girl I dated a long time ago. I had a lot of affection for her.
Okay, we're going to have to dig into that later.
Well, I mean, there's nothing more to it. She physically reminded me of somebody who I used to be attracted to. But every time she's like, I don't know, you think trolls, and she's, I'm just like, I'm having that kind of secondhand embarrassment where I would feel really embarrassed if I walked into somebody's like Super Bowl party and was just like, you really think the Rams are going to win? And then when the Rams win, I would feel like an idiot.
Well, I think that's the point, right? Because you as the viewer who clicked on a movie called Trollhunter know there's going to be trolls. These main characters are like, well, I don't know about that. And then you're like, when it is revealed to them that trolls are real, they're like, oh, we were dumb. And then you as the viewer, get to be like, see, I knew, even though you're omnipotent.
I don't want to do that. I want to be there with my people.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
I want to be on the same page.
The thing is, too, Tomas, I can't remember how you're supposed to pronounce his name. He gets bitten, but doesn't see what bites him. Also.
That's happened to me before.
He literally interacted with a troll, but we don't get to see that because there was no camera.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like we can only see. Or it's like, I think if you were bitten by a troll, would you want to admit that, like, that thing is real? It would change your perception of reality to know that trolls were real and the government was covering it up. So I think there's also those moments in movies. I do think it's frustrating, but I also feel like it's necessary because people have to get over that idea that this thing can't exist in reality. And that can't just happen instantly. I mean, some characters maybe could, but usually, like, your viewpoint main character is going to be a little more grounded and probably question that before they can finally accept that it's real. Just like you, the viewer, probably should.
You're not wrong. I just want to speed it along. That's my new thing. Like, any lingering in that time.
There's a right or wrong opinion on it, I guess.
No, there is.
Oh, okay.
It's mine.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I
started also in this movie keeping track of big stupid phrases that are in almost every horror movie.
Okay.
And I'm working, like, once I build this list up a little bit, I'll I'd be willing to bet every horror movie has one of these phrases. And the one that started it all was, you can do X, but you have to do exactly as I say.
Oh, yeah.
I like that line a lot. And it's in so many horror movies. The other ones I thought of right away were, I'm sorry about your friend.
Okay.
That's a good line to just be like, all right, killing just happened and we have to move on. And the other one I really like is, what is this place?
Yes, God, that was even our bet for like literally our second episode was, are they going to say this in the descent?
Boy, do they.
So we haven't really touched too much on the fact that while this is technically a horror movie, it is a found footage horror movie satire as well.
I didn't pick up much satire vibes. What would you say it satirizes?
I think because it's giving these extremely ridiculous scenarios, but like the characters and the actors play them like so straight to make it believable. So it pulls itself off as an individual movie and not as much satire itself. Most of the actors in this are like comedians. I don't know if you knew that.
That tracks.
And like just the concept itself is ridiculous. And like think about when they are trapped in the cave with the trolls and they like literally have a sequence where the trolls fart on them. And stuff like that, where it's like they turn this scary situation where you've got the camera up the main character, or not main characters, the cameraman's nose because it's like Blair Witch and they're trapped in this dark cave, so they're using the night vision as well, and then the trolls just fart on them and continue to
I do remember liking the actors all doing these comical like pinching their nose, waving their hand in front of their face. They're like Looney Tunes animated characters who have to communicate to the audience that there's something bad smelling going on.
Yeah, so I think that they're like taking this ridiculous concept, but playing it relatively straight and then filming it, you know, like why would the characters keep filming these things when they're dying or whatever, or like chasing down a story. And then when they're presented with these government officials who are like, we're not going to let you keep your footage. And then at the end of the movie, they're running away because they actually get caught. It's kind of like it feels very playful up until the moment where, one, their cameraman gets eaten. But then it still kind of feels playful because they immediately replace him. And then, like, it's this camera woman who is Muslim. So they're like, okay, you're not Christian, right? And she's like, no, I'm Muslim. And they're like, oh, okay, thank God.
We have to talk about this.
Then Hans is like, wait. But, like, that doesn't... It's more about if you believe in God, period, I think. So we don't know if that's gonna track.
That's my whole thing. Number one, it was so funny when he said, are any of you Christian?
Yeah.
That's like one of my...
I thought you would find that funny.
Just aesthetic choices. It's like, it's funny to me that, like, I don't know, Christianity is so, like, weird and ephemeral that to have, like, tangible stakes to it is very funny. The question of whether a Muslim woman counts the same as a Christian in terms of the smell got me down, Roxy, a theological rabbit hole.
Okay.
Because
I think before you go super deep into it, I think some of it is just kind of like local folklore and local religion adjacent. So if trolls don't exist in Muslim countries, they're not going to care about, but like if trolls did, I think they would care. I think that's more of what it's trying to do, but I think
I could see that. But what is
okay, in a broader term then, because this is going to be a longer conversation.
What is the tangible act of belief that is creating a chemical in these people's bodies that is being emitted to it? I would argue, Roxy,
okay,
that the thing a Christian person is doing when they have a feeling towards a higher power is the exact same as a Muslim person, and therefore there should be no difference.
Yeah, so I think that's why Hans is like, I don't know if that actually makes it any better. I just haven't palled around with a Muslim person while hunting the troll, so I can't say for certain. Let's just make sure she stays away from it.
Yeah, I forget. Did she give off the religion smell?
They never got close enough to it, because like after they hire her, they're just going after the big one, which is just one big giant fight where they're basically being aggressive about it. They're not trying to like stealthily hunt it or anything.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
And that's really funny, actually. Like the thing he uses to enrage and attract that troll to him for like the final confrontation, he plays Jesus music. Mm-hmm. And it's that's like so mad. Like, it's very funny.
What is, like, I can buy the movie saying like there is a, you know, like love is a chemical, right? Like that's like the way our bodies biologically break down. Love is like this ephemeral magic feeling, but it does affect us. It does have physical sensations in our bodies. And I can buy that religion has the same thing. But that Jesus specifically is like, To me, that is the movie saying that Jesus is like the truth. That, like,
I think
the people who got it right are the ones who are smelly by trolls.
Maybe. So I think it has to do with the fact that like pagan religions believe in things like fairies, and trolls are like fairies. They'd be classified as fairies as a kind of creature in Europe. I mean, feel free, again, if I'm completely missing the point, let me know if it's a little more specific. But so basically it's more like a pagan belief. Mm-hmm. And Christians came and demolished all of the pagan beliefs and replaced it with their own sort of thing. So I got the sense that it came from that. So like that's why they would not be down with Christians or people who specifically believe in like Christian theology or Jesus.
I like that explanation thematically quite a bit.
Yeah, like that's what I just assumed. But then again, if you don't even know a cursory thing about like what trolls are classified as or like what they're like, then I could totally see like how you didn't get that initially.
Yeah. Can we talk for a minute about this character Hans?
Yes, Han, the Witcher.
Kind of rules.
Yeah.
He kind of rules a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of mystery about him at the beginning, even though, like, again, we know he's a troll hunter. The movie is called Trollhunter.
Uh-huh. He's the titular troll hunter.
The idea that he's been doing this for a long time and is just kind of fed up is like a fun take on this kind of character to me.
Well, he also has this part, like, when he talks about a horrible thing that the government basically made him do. They were like, they just wanted to make this road bypass. I told them they shouldn't because it's huge troll territory and there's a ton of trolls there. Just make it somewhere else. And the government said, no, fuck that. We just want to put our road there. Go massacre all of those trolls. Mm-hmm. And he talked about how he had to kill like babies, mothers, pregnant mothers. And he's like real upset about it. That's one of the things that like this ridiculous concept when you think about it, like, oh yeah, goofy giant trolls are real. And you gotta fight him, and the government's keeping him under wraps. When you just say that on its own, it can sound very goofy, but then, like, the way the actors play it, you feel that he is really upset and, like, done with this shit. Mm-hmm. Because he's having to kill these creatures who are, they're not very intelligent, but they're essentially, you know, like, how you would do bear control or something. Mm-hmm. How you would do, like, wild animal preservation kind of thing. So, like, he doesn't hold any animosity towards them. They're just, like, kind of animals that he has to keep in check to make sure humans aren't killed by them. But, like, he doesn't want to just straight up murder them. He knows that they're, like, creatures with their own life cycle, lifespan. Some of them are, like, over 1,000 years old. Mm-hmm. You know? So he hates that the government doesn't care about the lives of not only these trolls, but him as well. Because, like, they don't pay him shit for it. His entire life is surrounded by this. Mm-hmm. I don't believe he does anything outside of his job. You know? It's kind of like his whole deal.
Totally. Yeah, no, he's just like a really well-drawn character with interesting complexities. Like, I think there is a way to frame this character up as more bounty hunter-y or more like kind of like loves the thrill of the hunt. Like, obviously there are 1,000 ways you could take this character, but I think that this kind of sensitive bureaucrat is like a really fun, interesting way to play him, who's just like, he's like a middle manager.
Well, he's not even like a bureaucrat. He's like beholden to the bureaucrat. So we see like Finn, the bureaucrat guy, who is rude, kind of an asshole, doesn't care, you know, doesn't want the kids to film anything, obviously, because that's part of his job, but he is an asshole about it and is like, I'll take that footage from you. And there's 3 of them, and he's just kind of like, he does look like a middle management guy. He's not very threatening or anything. He's wearing kind of like a windbreaker, like he's not even wearing like a suit or anything. There's nothing that sets him apart to make him more threatening. And yet at the end of the movie, there's black vans that are chasing them down, and you cut to black with them getting out of their car to go get the kids. Like, they're chasing the kids through the snow. And it's just assumed that they killed them. Sure. Or, like, the one kid, Thomas, who had the troll rabies, probably died from the troll rabies. And then Joanna, you don't know.
I thought for sure when he got bit that he was going to turn into a troll.
Oh, really? Okay.
I was so confident they were going to werewolf him.
Yeah, I mean, like, they could have done something with that if it hadn't been rabies specifically, if it had just been, like, a bite. He was going to turn into a troll.
So that's kind of the big, not twist of the movie, but the big reveal is, like, these trolls are out on the prowl because one of them has rabies.
Yeah, because they're usually not that aggressive because people don't know about them and they're not doing the cover-ups that often. But, like, something weird is happening where they're coming closer and, like, attacking each other, I guess, more often, too.
Kind of like that as a not reveal. It was just like sort of like, yeah, it's just a thing that happens in the wilderness to animals sometimes.
Well, the thing is too, because now we know Tomas has it. Okay, dude, you have rabies. That will kill you. You need to get a vaccine, or I guess we just accept the fact that you're gonna die soon, I guess. Like, maybe it's too late for you. Like, his reaction.
Roxy, there was some kind of children's book that my grandma had at her house. It was like a kid's book about rabies.
Really? Okay.
About and it was like two kids and they're playing and one of them gets bit by a dog and she dies. She's like a little girl who dies, and it's like,
oh,
but thankfully that doesn't have to happen anymore because it was a book about the inventor of the rabies vaccine.
Oh, okay.
And that stirred up in me. I was like, oh, so like I remember growing up thinking both rabies is something I should be terrified of and also that it's not a big deal. And so as this kid is revealed to have rabies, I like kind of started feeling anxious about it for that same reason. Because I was like, maybe not enough time has elapsed yet and he'll still be safe. But I was like, in my head, I was like, no, he's had rabies too long.
Well, yeah, like you have to get it treated very quickly. And I think it's like several shots and stages and you need them very specifically. I remember hearing a story about how they don't stock it as well in hospitals. And it is a kind of a nightmare to get your hands on it if you think you need it. Whether it's just like the American healthcare system being a pile of shit, because it is, or just, like you said, it's not as big of a issue, so like they don't keep it on hand all the time. So it makes it harder to get because of scarcity.
Well, that's why I always carry a couple of rabies vaccines with me.
Yeah, and like that tetanus shot and, the COVID vaccination too.
Insulin,
we all know you like to be careful.
Adrenaline.
Yeah.
Testosterone. Anything I might need to inject in myself. I carry a little fanny pack, and boy, does it get me some looks as I'm going through the airport.
Well, I mean, you won't have to worry about getting troll rabies, Mikey, so I think there's merit to doing that.
Listen,
to wearing the fanny pack and sacrificing your fashion and maybe getting arrested by TSA.
Roxy, what would you say is the big idea of this movie?
I guess we kind of touched on it a bit. I mean, I feel like this movie is trying to do quite a few things. For me, the thing that stuck out maybe the most that I feel like I can latch on to, and maybe it's just the most straightforward read of it, I don't know, just how your government is doing things you don't know about, doing it kind of poorly, not doing like the greatest cover-up, but they're still not going to tell you things, and they're keeping things from you that can hurt you, whether you like it or not, and whether you become like a casualty in that or not, they don't care.
Yeah.
It feels very like it's very callous, and especially with you having like Hans, who is kind of the face of empathy for this, just being like, I've been doing this for decades and it's bullshit and everything around it is bullshit. So I need to like tell people about it.
I had the same thought. I feel like this movie's primary antagonist is the general idea of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Which is fun. Like trolls are kind of like amoral. They're not good or bad. They're just sort of like lumbering
wild
about.
Animals. Yeah. Right. They don't have any sort of ill intent. They're just wild animals doing their wild animal thing.
And so when we're seeing the bureaucrats be like inept, they have these like ski poles that have fake bear paws that they like use to make bear tracks. And at one point they get them flipped.
Yes, yeah.
So they ask, like, somebody's looking at the bear tracks and they're like,
it was Thomas asking him. He's like looking at him and being like, hey, the bear cross-legged?
Is the bear walking? The bear cross-legged? It's like, these are the villains of the movie. These are who we're trying to overcome. And
it's also, oh man, we haven't even touched upon like the Polish guys either, which is like another thing that kind of pokes out like the satire comedy aspect of it. Mm-hmm. They're bringing in these bears. They'll bring in like a bear corpse and then have to shoot it after it's dead to make it look like a poacher killed it. And like that was the thing that knocked over these trees or did this disturbance over here, not a troll. And they've just got like these Polish dudes in a van who are like speaking in broken English because Polish and Norwegian, I'm assuming, is different. So they're like, well, English is more universal to Norwegian people than Polish would be, maybe. I don't know. But so they bring in like a bear corpse and like the kids ask, where did you get it from? And they're just like, we just got it from a zoo. They just straight up like took a bear from the zoo, killed it and threw it up there. And you hear when the bureaucrat guy is giving the story to news reporters who come to like cover it. He's like, yeah, it's a bear that wandered all the way through like Russia and Siberia and like a bunch of other countries to like show up here. Sure, it makes sense why this species of bear would be here.
It's very frightening. like this idea that like, I think what's kind of effective about this movie, and it's and why I think it is saying more than I initially gave it credit for. Like, I was kind of just like, we're sort of just chasing trolls. Like, I don't really know what we're doing here. Like, the ending of this movie that takes these inept, silly bureaucrats, like, the bureaucracy is played for jokes most of the way through. Like, Hans is filling out forms throughout the movie.
Yeah, and they even show it.
And
very good.
At the end, the bureaucracy wins. No matter how powerful individually or no matter how tangible our proof, these systems win. And the fact that it's not just this stupid idiot Finn guy, like, that it's these, like, faceless black trucks at the end, it's just like, we're working against inhumanity here. We're not going up against an inept bald guy who crisscrosses bare feet. We're going up against a system if we're trying to reveal these truths. And it's just like, the ending kind of bugged me in, I think, a good way, just in the sense that, like, it's very bleak. It's, like, kind of bleak. They don't succeed. They don't save any trolls. Like, this little adventure that they go on just ends with them being defeated by the same system that allowed them to run rampant in the first place.
Yeah, and, like, you don't know what happens to the kids, so it's kind of like, you assume they've either been incarcerated or they're dead. And then Hans himself, he kills that last giant troll and then sort of, like, rides off. You don't know what happens to him either. And I think the camera woman is the one who got out the footage, because, like, she runs and there's some other car that I think she sees right before, maybe. Because, like, the footage, the whole premise of, like, the movie itself is that this footage was found. It had, like, a lot more time on it, but they cut it up to be cinematic so it can be presented in chronological order as a movie. So, like, they finished the film that these students were trying to make. And then they've got that clip of the epilogue, which is, like, partially from a real conference, I think. Yeah. Because they show, like, the fake the bureaucrat guy from the movie sitting next to him, but he's, like, not really sitting next to that guy, obviously, because that was from, like, a real conference. And I think he did say the word troll in it. And so, like, either he said it or they, like, dubbed it over or something, but, like, they mixed in some real footage with their own, like, fake footage to, you know,
which again
make
is,
it feel
like,
more grounded.
Is so frightening. Cool, it's just like, like, the highest levels of power know about this, and to them it's not a big deal, and we have no hope for change. And Hans, like, I think Hans, like, embodying this sort of Wild West outlaw figure riding off into the sunset at the end is just like, okay, I tried to change this system. The system is unchangeable. It's best for me to move on.
Yeah.
It's a great Wild West trope. That's what the sunset ride-off always is about. It's realizing that even though I helped to build this society, I no longer fit within it.
Yeah, and kind of like he's been living outside of it for so long anyway. You get this brief moment of the vet lady who would, like, test the blood.
Right. She loved him.
Yeah, like, they have some sort of relationship, whether it's a friendship or more. She seems to be the only person. They give each other a hug as, like, he leaves, basically. So she seems to be the only human he really has any positive contact with, as far as we know. Because we only see him interact, basically, with the kids, the boss, bureaucrat guy, and her. So it kind of gives you, like, a different aspect to his character to be like, yeah, maybe he would have liked to have taken out this nice vet lady, but he could never ask her because he's just doing his shitty job that he hates.
I'm literally just piecing this together now as I say it, but, like, I am kind of liking this movie a lot more thinking about it through the lens of a Western as opposed to...
Yeah, I didn't even think about that at all. Bringing that up is an interesting point.
Yeah, he kind of functions as the canonical outlaw character. He's just sort of doing his own thing.
Like Desperado, I guess? Is that the same definition? I'm not sure.
Why can't I think of a Western trope? White hat. A lot of times they won't even name these characters because they are archetypes more than they are characters. And Hans kind of has those vibes to me. Like, he's got that cool Wild West outlaw who he certainly has a code that he is being forced to break consistently by his job.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. A lot of Old West heroes, like, open up after this. They did their horrible thing and now they're living on the farm until this final mission pulls them out. This is his final mission. This is him realizing, like, the thing I'm doing is not working for me anymore. And I'm going to finally... This movie is the beginning of him deciding to live by his code for the first time.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, I like this movie a lot. I liked it plenty before, but now I'm like, oh, this is hitting some buttons for me.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. This was your first time seeing it, correct?
Yes, this is the first time I saw it.
Yeah, I had seen it before a while back, so it was fun to rewatch it again with kind of like a more critical eye, knowing that we were going to like be talking about it.
Yeah.
And I liked it just as much, if not more, the second time I saw it.
This is great. Roxy, there is a final set piece that is going to lead me to a question that I have for you.
Okay.
Oh my God. We've talked about this before. My specific fear of giant things
Yeah,
was
that's
activated
right.
by this final troll that is very large. It's the biggest troll. It's as big a troll as they make.
It's like they say like a Jotnar or something, which is from mythology, you know.
I know that from God
like,
of War.
Yeah, or like if you've seen any of the Thor movies, they talk about it there too. Which they use quite a few references and stuff from things like, you know, myths or legends in that part of the world, which was neat if you have any kind of inkling to have heard about them before.
But this troll is very big.
Yes, it's huge. It's like, what, 50 to 100 meters tall, I think they said?
Yes. Roxy, if you or I were in the world of this movie and seeing this troll, it would be the biggest thing we ever saw. But since we're not,
that's very true.
Since we exist in the real world, what is the biggest thing you've ever seen?
The biggest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen plenty of skyscrapers, but that's like, whatever, generic skyscrapers. I'd say
those are supposed to be big.
Yes, exactly. I'd say like the biggest, most impressive thing I've seen, there's like a landmark, because I have never seen a living giant creature like a troll yet, was London Bridge, I think. I think that's the biggest one. Or actually like Big Ben, maybe. They're in the same zone. My family visited Europe once, and I got to see both of those things, and I think London Bridge is bigger. Maybe.
They both seem pretty big, right? Like, they're both...
Yes, they are, but only one of them is called literally Big Ben, so I don't know.
Right, that's what... I guess. It is called Big Ben, so you'd think it would be bigger, but...
Yeah, maybe it's bigger.
It might just be big for a clock.
So London Bridge has 2 big spires, though, so what if that counts? Does that count?
London Bridge is...
bigger?
I think London Bridge might take it just because it's 2 big spires plus a big bridge. So that's 3 big things combining into one big thing.
Yeah, I'd say, okay, yeah, you convinced me. We'll
go
with my original we'll go with my original guess, London Bridge. What about you, Mikey? What is the biggest thing you've ever seen?
Horse.
Excuse me?
It was a big horse.
A horse.
I remember being 12 years old and going to horse camp.
Wait, what? Hang on a second. I remember being 12 years old and going to a horse camp. That's just a thing you can do?
I might have been younger than that. I feel like it
horse camp.
Yeah, it was like only like 2 weeks. And it wasn't like a sleepover camp. It was like your parents drive you every day. But for like 2 weeks, I went to this horse camp and you rode horses.
So you learned how to ride a horse. You know how to ride a horse now?
I do, yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if I could tap into it. It's been a long time.
Fair.
But I just remember thinking, these horses are so big. Like, they were bigger than I could have dreamed. And they're just like beasts. They're just like, they got just big muscles and they're just like rippling shoulders. And it's like, and I'm going to control them.
You're going to control a buff horse, Mikey.
It makes me understand horse girls. It's like, I feel so special that I can take this majestic, powerful beast and he'll listen to me. Like you feel seen when you're riding a horse. I just became a horse girl. And I mean, like,
and horses, you know, they have no ill intentions or whatever. Anything they do that you might dislike or might see as animosity, like, they're just an animal. They're not trying to, like, they don't got any agenda.
And that's the thing. They could if they wanted to. They're more than big enough.
I guess, but that's not. I mean, I guess.
Roxy, on a scale from 1 to 9, since 10 does not exist in the scary basement, how likely do you think the events of the movie Trollhunter are to happen here in the real world?
So I think I averaged it out to 2 out of 9, but only because trolls are the subject. Clumsy government cover-ups with a bunch of bureaucratic bullshit that somehow fails its way into succeeding sometimes. Yes, 9 out of 9 that happens, but something as big as trolls would not be able to go unseen. So
I had similar thoughts. I gave it a 3.
Okay.
Because again, like, like you said, cryptids make sense. Like, I buy that there are some sort of government conspiracies that, like, are trying to keep these things quiet. But ones that are that big, and that there are that many of them.
Yeah.
and that, like, I don't know, rabies has been around for a while. Like, none of them got rabies before. Like, this is the first time. It just feels like one of my big, like, core beliefs of the world is that, like, conspiracy theories don't really, like, probably aren't true because human beings are too dumb to pull them off. Like, they would have leaked or we would have made a mistake. And I think this movie is kind of about how many mistakes these people make.
Yeah.
And so, like, we would have found out about them by now.
Yeah. Yep. I think also, like, they're not exactly covering up the troll tracks. They're just adding bear tracks and being like, nobody knows what troll tracks look like, so they want to know to look for them, right?
It's very ridiculous.
So, we had a bet last week, Mikey, which
Boy,
was how many different species of trolls were in the movie?
I said 3.
Yep. And I said 6.
How many did you count?
So the answer, I think, because some of them we see them in the dark, so I don't know if they're the same species as some of the ones we see before.
Mm-hmm.
So could possibly be wrong about this, but I counted 5 unique trolls that I could tell. They only tell us like maybe 3 or 4 different species specifically, like go out of their way to say it, because there's like the 3-headed one, the giant one, the ones in the cave, the one at the bridge, and then like the one at the start that we didn't get to see, was its own breed as well. So I counted 5.
I think you're right. I counted 4, but I think at the moment you said like that one at the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, they were describing that was a
like Ringlefinch
or you know what, like Roxy, I am going to be pedantic with you.
Okay.
I believe that the question, at least what I wrote down here for our bet, was how many types of trolls do we see?
Oh, okay. Well, then it would be 4, I guess.
In which case, I would win.
Unless it is the same as the species of the one that is on the bridge. See, that's the thing where I was like, I don't know if they're the same. And
even then, it would be 4 also.
I guess so. Yeah, let me see. Okay, so there's the one that bites Thomas that we don't see, but we get told what breed it is. Then there's the 3-headed one, which is the first one that our main characters actually see, which is a different one. Then there's the one at the bridge, which could be the same as the first one, but could be a different one. And there's the ones in the cave, which again, those could even be the same species as the one in the bridge or the first one that we don't see. Don't know. Unclear. Then there's the big giant one at the end.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, we see 4 different types, for sure. Yep. And the first one, since we don't see him, I would disqualify him anyway, but the fact that he could be the same as the ones in the cave or the one on the bridge, I think the answer is 4. I think we got to go 4.
Yeah, I think you have convinced me, Mikey. I think it is 4.
Officially, I hope the winner of this doesn't get to live while the other dies, because I would feel really bad about arguing if it led to you being murdered by our friend Demonbot.
I mean, Demonbot can always pull a surprise on us. We never know when he's going to cash it in. So, could be total, could be an individual episode. We don't know.
The total score right now, and the main reason I wanted to get that point was because I already wrote down that I got the point and didn't want to go back in and change it. Right now, the score is Roxy 14, Mikey 11.
Okay.
Tie 1.
Catching up.
So you got 3 going for you.
All right.
Speaking of the Demonbot, here he comes, marching over, presumably to give us a new movie.
Sure hope so. I don't want to think what else he's got in store if he's not doing that.
Congratulations, you have successfully reviewed the film Trollhunter. Your souls are safe for another week. For next week, you must review the 1993 film Leprechaun, written and directed by Mark Jones and starring Warwick Davis, Jennifer Aniston, and Ken Oland. If you do not, your souls shall be forfeit and I will claim your bodies as my own.
Okay, so Roxy, for next week, then we have to watch the film Leprechaun, starring John Q. Leprechaun.
No. Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston.
Leprechaun.
Jennifer Aniston is her name. Jennifer Aniston is her name. I always accidentally refer to her as John Q. Leprechaun.
Yeah, that's something you always do, and you got to stop doing that, Mikey. You need to get a tattoo so you stop calling her that.
Roxy, I went to a big Hollywood party where the entire cast of Friends was there. Joey Lawrence, Matthew Perry, Lisa Kudrow, John Q. Leprechaun, Ross.
Wait, Joey Lawrence was his name? I thought his character was just Joey. Is that his real name?
I don't fucking know that dude's name.
Oh, yeah, and also John Q. Leprechaun, the famous, sixth friend of Friends.
You get what I'm going for. The point is, we're going to watch Leprechaun. Let's make a bet.
It's just in time for St. Patrick's Day, also.
What a great holiday.
Being holiday themed. I'm proud.
Roxy, how many times in the entire film Leprechaun do you think the word gold will be said?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of, like, the Leprechaun himself being like, gold, give me gold or something. And then there's going to be a lot of the characters being like, we don't have your gold, or here's the gold.
When they realize that, like, oh God, he's after the gold. Like, they're going to be saying gold a lot.
So I'm going to swing super big and say 32 times, Mikey.
Oof.
I think the word gold will be said.
Again, I already wrote mine down. I said 15. I wish 15. I had gone bigger than you.
Even bigger. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. If they're being concise about it, 15 is the right amount of times to reference gold. We'll see.
All right.
That's locked in.
Yes, that's locked.
The pact has been sealed. I mean, the bet is confirmed. The one who is closest to the number of times the word gold is said in the film shall be declared the winner. The loser will have to count the many, many times the word gold is said. Wait. Shit, I can't think of a worse punishment than the bet itself.
We've been talking about a lot of spooky, scary, depressing, bureaucratic things. So how about we talk about something happy, something that's making us happy this week? What's been making you happy this week?
You know, I brought it up earlier, but Roxy, the Rams of Los Angeles won the Super Bowl.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Boy, did they. So not only, I mean...
Are they your team now? They
were the team I was rooting for sure. You know,
okay.
I live here in Los Angeles, so like that's
hometown
nice.
Team. Or not hometown. Yeah, I guess hometown.
It was an awesome Super Bowl in general.
Good.
But also, this Rams team was full of a number of players who all like had never won a Super Bowl, but like really deserved it. Like good dudes.
That's great.
The quarterback, Matthew Stafford, was on the Detroit Lions for his entire career since like 2009, and they just sucked. They're a bad team. And the first year he got off of the Detroit Lions, he gets to win a Super Bowl. Jalen Ramsey, an incredible quarterback, got to take home a Super Bowl ring. Cooper Kupp was by far the best wide receiver in football this year. The player who got it the most is a dude named Aaron Donald, has been objectively the best defensive player in football for the past 5 years.
Okay.
And he was like just so sincere in every interview he gave. He's like, I've done everything you can do in football. All I want is that ring. All I want is that Super Bowl. And you could tell there were all these stories of like the Rams were behind in the playoff games, and Aaron Donald was just like, we gotta do it. We gotta win this, man. We gotta do it. And the very last play, so
it was really close? Was it?
Yes. Yeah. God, why can't I even... The Bengals. Bengals had a chance to tie it up. They had one last play, and Aaron Donald was the one who got the sack. He knocked the guy down, ended their last shot to have any momentum, and you could just tell how much it meant to him. You got to see him up on the stage with his kids. It's just like, it meant so much to him, and it was just really nice to see.
That's great. And I think especially if it was like a close game, you know, that's saying something about the other team, like played very well.
Absolutely.
As well, you know. So it's like, even if you lost, you not by much, so it still proves you're good. So that sounds great.
What's making you happy, Rox?
I have figured out a new secondhand marketplace to like sell my stuff and also hunt for hidden treasures, which is maybe part diminishes part of the getting rid of stuff part that initially brought me to it. But we're not sponsored by it, so I'm not going to say the name. But it's allowed me to like...
say the name. Like, if people are... this is the thing that's exciting you. I think if people are looking for it... Like, actually, I want to know, because I want to poke around and buy weird old stuff.
It's Mercari. So I haven't done, like, a ton of sales, but I've done, like, a ton of listings right now. And it's... Like, I've been doing eBay for years, and eBay is pretty good for what it is. You can be a lot more specific. You can be a lot more... in depth. It feels like there's like years of customer service behind it, so it feels like very reliable. But for like quick things. Like I talked about this on a different episode that I am paring down my pin collection. And so like these tiny little things that like I would have to take a bunch of photos of each one and then like photos on my phone and then upload it to my computer and then upload it to the website and then do a bunch of descriptions for everything. And then also pay a listing fee. I was just like, I can't do it. That seems insurmountable. And then I found this thing, which I had been previously looking for like collectibles and stuff like Resident Evil collectibles, Mikey. Maybe you'd be interested.
I like those. And
so I was like, I can just take a picture of my phone and put it up there with like 2 sentences to be like, this thing's new, good condition, please somebody take it. And then that's just it. So that's been taking like some stress off of me to like get rid of that stuff. But then while I'm trying to get rid of this stuff, I'm like, oh, but there's that thing I want. There's that thing somebody posted that I want. So double-edged sword, Mikey.
Roxy, you're nothing if not on brand.
This is true. It's very on brand for me.
I love that. I'm going to check that website out and probably buy some stuff off of it. Roxy,
okay, they better sponsor us after this. I'm just...
I bet they won't.
I bet they won't also.
That's my guess. Roxy, each week, the Demon Bot hires a new monster to guard the basement door to keep us from escaping, and yet each week we still escape. This week, I brought a weapon.
Okay, you've done this in the past, though, Mikey. Where is it? Let me see
Nice
it.
and simple. I brought a shotgun.
Okay, shotgun's pretty reliable. Wait, what kind of bullets are in it?
Shotgun shells. It's full of shotgun shells.
Just normal one. Okay, not like holy water or rock salt or...
No, just regular default shotgun shells. So let's just go see what monster was hired. Oh, no. Oh, Roxy.
Mikey?
It's Antoine Chigurh from No Country for Old Men.
Wait, which one was that? Was that the guy with the cattle?
He's just a big man who walks around with a cattle bolt and he kills people with it.
Don't get close to him, okay?
Roxy, he's the ultimate embodiment of death.
Is he looking this way?
Symbolically, there's nothing we can do. We can only hope to escape and fight another day.
Okay, yeah, cheat death. We can do that. We've done it before. Do it again.
Here we go. I'm gonna make a run for it. Oh, he shot me.
What? Mikey, why'd you get so close? You didn't have to get that close up to him when you were talking about who he was.
You're right, Roxy. I was looking for notes.